What is the apocalypse survivability of Los Angeles, California? In a recent series of short videos, we ranked the world's major cities on their survivability in a civilization-ending event. One of those cities was LA. We do these videos to help inform people about the general principles related to strategic relocation from a prepping point of view. Now let's do a deeper dive into explaining why we gave LA the rating we did. Let's get to it. In the best of times, you can't beat the weather, the natural beauty, and the entertainment that a place like LA has to offer. Unfortunately, it's one of the last places you want to be when shit hits the fan, for the following reasons. There'll be very few ways to escape the city after disaster strikes. To the east, it's the Sierra Nevadas and the barren desert foothills. To the south, it's the Mexican border and the densely populated, crime-infested Tijuana. To the north, it's the Great Pacific Northwest, only accessible by a limited amount of winding mountain corridors that probably will be impassable after disaster strikes. And to the west, well, unless you're a good swimmer or you can steal a celebrity's yacht, you can pretty much kiss your ass goodbye. Even if you can get beyond the hungry hordes that swell into the mountainous LA countryside, it's very likely that neighboring states are going to lock down their borders and turn your ass around when you've almost escaped. There's a distinct possibility of a fracturing along state lines in the event of a national emergency. Government powers will naturally become more decentralized and governance will be largely administered on a state-by-state or county-by-county level. So crossing state lines from a place like California that's restricted by numerous natural corridors could be a difficult place to escape. Ranked as 6 in the USA for the worst traffic, you can bet that when North Korea detonates an EMP over the West Coast, it's going to be teeth-grinding gridlock all the way to the bitter end. The highest density of electric vehicles are present in California, so the power grid is already taxed even in the best of times, never mind in the final hours preceding a cataclysmic event. Many people will feverishly watch their batteries deplete while stuck in traffic and then proceed to abandoning those vehicles, causing even more gridlock and proceeding with the other million refugees on foot. What's more is the electromagnetic pulse effects of a high-altitude nuclear blast will likely render most of these vehicles inoperable anyways. So make sure you bring another analog mode of commuting, be it a scooter, a bike, because if you don't have a private jet or a boat, you can kiss your ass goodbye. 86% of Los Angeles' water is imported, and without a functional power grid, millions of people will be fighting tooth and nail over the little water that remains. Many will get sick from drinking the LA River water, which will surely be a hotspot for waterborne illness and chemical contamination, not counting the fact that there will be countless fights for water here. The LA River will be the new watering hole for millions of people, so expect to pay a toll to your neighborhood warlord to get river access, or better yet, just become the warlord. California has one of the largest military populations in the United States, with 160,000 active duty soldiers and 10,000 active duty law enforcement within the LA County area alone. If martial law has any chance of succeeding in the United States, it will be in the biggest nanny state in the USA. Unfortunately, due to its large naval base, numerous military bases, not counting the information hub that is Silicon Valley, and other infrastructure that is critical to the US continuity of government plans, LA County will most definitely be a primary nuclear target. It's also likely that adversaries that don't possess long-range intercontinental ballistic missile capabilities will be able to detonate nukes on the West Coast easier than the more geographically distant East Coast. 19 million of the most pampered, decadent people on Earth will be fiercely fighting with 120,000 gang members for water, not counting the 200,000 convicts currently held in California prisons that will be turned loose on society when it hits the fan, as was the case during the pandemic of 2020. It's possible the real high-risk criminals will be abandoned in their cells or euthanized by the state, but only time will tell. California is also amongst the states that has the highest amount of illegal gun ownership, while being the 6th lowest in terms of legal gun ownership, according to the RAND Corporation. That's a recipe for total disaster in any post-collapse situation, when the bad guys have way more guns than the good guys. Without a boat or a private jet, you are pretty much shit out of luck. Unless you're Sam Altman and have a private jet and a plan to bug out to Big Sur when it all hits the fan, you can pretty much, you guessed it, kiss your ass goodbye. Quite frankly, Big Sur won't be immune to the nuclear fallout and residual effects of World War III. Unfortunately, not even ChatGPT will have solutions for Altman here. While California is currently migrating towards more renewable forms of energy, they are still largely dependent on the gas-fired power plants, which likely won't be operational post-grid down. Their nuclear power plants will be forced into shutdown, and the spent fuel pools here will be a radiological liability for decades to come. Any renewable energy sources or hydroelectric sources will be able to generate power, but likely only for a privileged few in the population. California has its share of natural disasters in the best of times. Whether it's massive forest fires, earthquakes, droughts, snowstorms, or floods, in a Mad Max situation, the likelihood of any of these events will only increase, and FEMA's resources and ability to respond will decrease. And according to numerous experts, LA is one of the least climate-resilient cities, ranking close to dead last amongst all in the United States. Aside being an agricultural powerhouse that is fully dependent on the grid to irrigate crops, LA's entire economy is service-based, and they only produce things that are useful when there's a functioning civilization to utilize them. As such, people will disperse like locusts to the resource-dense agricultural lands of the broader California landscape to parasitically mismanage and devour before they die. Arguably, it's one of the most entitled states in the Union, and it's very likely that many highfalutin, self-important celebrities will have temper tantrums when Starbucks closes its doors forever. So don't be starstruck when you see Jennifer Lawrence scavenging in the apocalypse. She's probably just another bloodthirsty cannibal trying to survive the post-collapse Hunger Games. Now, what about the benefits of living in LA? LA is rated to have the best weather on Earth. You can survive here year-round without any shelter. If the hypothetical nuclear winter doesn't darken the sunny LA skyline, expect an even greater expansive network of 10 cities to pop up long after Gavin Newsom is gone, as hard as that might be to believe. California also has the second most solar panels of any state in the USA, meeting a whopping 1/4 of its electricity needs for 12 million of its inhabitants. If the transformers don't get fried from the EMP blast, millions of LA survivors rich enough to afford private security may still be able to drive their Teslas over all the poor people. California produces the most food out of any state and basically provides all of North America with fruits and vegetables. However, this is largely dependent on irrigation, which won't work without electricity. If you can find a way to irrigate your crops, you can grow food here pretty much year-round. All of the world's biomes exist within a few hours of Los Angeles. It's no wonder Hollywood found its home here. Any possible movie set you could ask for is within driving distance. Whether it's mountainous, oceanic, freshwater, forest, grasslands, desert, or tundra, there's plenty of good places to bug out to if you have the means to get there. If you are one of the lucky ones who do have a decent-sized boat, unlike the East Coast, the northern West Coast is not as densely populated, and you may be able to escape the hordes in this way. Because of LA's weather, renewable energy supply, and long growing season, we reluctantly give it a 3 out of 10, which is slightly better than our ranking for New York City, and only because of the weather. If you do live in the LA region, you better have a plan to get out. If you disagree with this assessment or you have a city that you would like us to rate, let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.